Steve Smith, vice captain of the Australian team, obviously made 93 in Adelaide, a great partnership with Marnus Labuschagne to help set up that win and ultimately bring Australia to a 3-0 lead so far in the series. If you have a question for Steve, let us know and we'll work through it. Mel?
Steve, what's it like coming back to play in Sydney, home ground, and also that 100 been a bit elusive for you lately? It'll be a special place to do it here.
Yeah, always love playing here at the SCG. Obviously it's home for me, so love playing here. Hopefully can be amongst the runs this week. It's been a little while since I've scored 100, but got close in Adelaide on, I think we've played on some pretty bowler-friendly wickets the first 3 tests. Obviously haven't been huge scoring games, so it's been tough to get rhythm and get into a groove, but hopefully this week can spend a lot of time out there and score a big one and help us continue to have success as a team.
You had an amazing tour of England in 2019. Did you feel any different then to what you feel now in terms of your batting and how you've been going?
It's just been difficult getting rhythm in the middle. I think all the wickets we've played on, you've never really felt in, and anyone can bowl a good ball at any certain time. So it's just about trying to find as much rhythm as you can and hang in there for as long as possible and defending really well, leaving well, and then pouncing on anything loose. And I think that's what the guys that have scored runs throughout this series have done well. And it's about doing that again out here. It's pretty green at the moment, that wicket, so what it'll do I'm not sure, but summing it up when we're out there and playing according to what the conditions throw at us.
Anyone else, guys? Oh, Benny.
Steve, Nathan Lyon was talking yesterday about, with Pat Cummins as captain and you as vice captain, the team's getting really strong perspective, I suppose, on seeing the game from a bowling point of view and a batting point of view. Do you think Pat being a bowling captain, that extra bit of perspective, I suppose, or a different way of looking at the game, do you think that's helped the other bowlers?
Perhaps. It's hard to say. It's only really been 2 tests that he's been in charge, but he's done a good job when he's been out there, and the boys have responded really well. And I know everyone sort of is coming to give him advice when he needs it, but he's making the decisions and he's doing a really good job. And hopefully we can keep up the momentum I guess we've created in the first 3 tests. We've played some really good cricket. We've been relentless and haven't let England into the contest. So hopefully we can keep doing that.
Was it in Melbourne that you tipped him like a time to bowl when he wasn't perhaps thinking it, and it was sort of a key part of the game?
I think it may have been. I can't really remember.
But he's after that kind of feedback that he's not bowling at the time and you think he should be. That's the kind of feedback you want.
Yeah, I think he's been great with that. He's open to feedback and suggestions. So that's my job to give him what I can see from slip. It's obviously a nice place to be standing, and you get good perspective on angles and things like that. So, that was the first. I'm not sure I've done that before. But it's the angles I get, I can provide that to Pat, who's fielding probably at mid-on or bowling, and then we can keep going from there and have plans from there to keep moving forward.
Go to Dean. Dean first. Lawler, Pete, behind you, mate. He's hiding behind you. 3 metres.
You played with and against some of the fastest bowlers in the game. Can you give me a kind of back as appraisal of Mark Wood and how much of a challenge he's been as the fastest guy on track?
Yeah, I think he's bowled really well. I thought he bowled well at the Gabba. Obviously missed out in Adelaide, and then I thought bowled really well again last week. And he provides something a little bit different to the England attack with a bit more pace. And I think he's improved a lot over the years. We've noticed his run-ups got a lot longer. He looks. He's got some good momentum into the crease, and he's hitting the bat hard. So certainly provides something different in their attack. And I thought he's bowled really well.
You enjoyed that challenge. It's an exciting moment, isn't it, when the fast bowlers get going? We saw Mitch Stark and Pat Cummins in that evening session. Does Mark Wood bring that kind of excitement in your mind?
I think it's slightly different, I reckon, to to Pat or Mitch. They're obviously a lot taller than Woody. Woody's a bit more skiddy and shorter, and probably has to dig it in a little bit shorter to get the ball up. So slightly different from that perspective, but I think he's bowling really well.
Pete?
Steve, some comments, even coming from the England camp, that bowling at the MCG for the Aussies was the goodest they've ever seen. How did you rate it? Or was it just kind of a momentum thing?
No, I think they bowled really good lengths. I've probably never seen any seam movement like that in my life. One of those balls I think that Hamid left that evening, when it hit him, it came back like an off spinner. The ball was seaming as far as I've seen in my career on any wicket. So it was never going to be easy for the batters. In fact, I think probably day one was probably the best time to bat when we sent them in. It was a little bit slower. There probably wasn't as many like divots on the grass, so it was a bit more true in terms of seam movement. And then day two, day three, I think it started seaming a lot more. So, you still got to put the ball in the right areas. I think Jimmy did it well for them. He hit some really good lengths and challenged our defence, and probably bowled that slightly bit fuller than they probably have done throughout the series, and provided us with a lot of challenges. And then our bowlers did the same. They were relentless with their line and length, and I think when you've got a wicket doing as much as it was, if you're bowling those areas, then eventually you're going to get the edge, or hit the stumps or the pad.
Hello Steve, nice to see you.
Hey.
The Ashes 4 years ago began with lots of silly comments and rather degenerated, whereas this one there seems to be a big love-in. Can you put your finger on what's happened? People seem to be getting on much better. Is it is it COVID? Is it playing with each other more often in franchises? Can you put your finger on what the difference of the approach to it is?
I'm not sure, maybe a bit of everything. It's all seemed a little bit silly to me over the years, all those comments and stuff. I mean, we're here to play and compete, but you go out and do your business and let your skills take over out in the middle. I think that's what everyone wants to see from our perspective, or from my perspective anyway. So whether it's nicer or what, I'm not sure. You guys, I'm chilled either way. I don't really mind, to be honest. But no, it's been nice. I think we've just sort of let the cricket take over, and that's what everyone wants to see, in my opinion.
Steve, no one ever questioned the commitment of this side, but being the series already won, does complacency need to be addressed at all?
I don't think so. No, I think the guys are in a really good place. We've played some really good cricket so far throughout, and we're still a young side building together as a group, and we want to keep getting better as a team. So, whilst we've got the foot on the throat, so to speak, we want to continue that momentum and have another good week out here in Sydney. Hopefully the weather holds off. I'm hearing the forecast isn't great, so hopefully we can get some good cricket in and have another good week.
Steve, a lot of talk coming into this test about a second spinner possibly here in Sydney, but Nate kind of said yesterday, really in the last 5 years it hasn't actually spun that much. Is that something that you noticed, having played a lot of cricket here, that the spin has become a little bit less in the last sort of 5-10 years or so?
I haven't played a lot of cricket here myself. I'd like to play a lot more for New South Wales here, but it doesn't match up sometimes. But it really depends how the wicket starts, I think. If it starts with a lot of grass on it, it seems to not break up that much. Whereas if they take all the grass off, it's got the ability to break up a bit more, and probably the footmarks come into play a lot more. So looking at this wicket at the moment, there seems to be a fair amount of grass. So I dare say it may not take too much spin late in the game, which was the old traditional sort of SCG that we used to see, which I would like to see personally.
Yeah.
Steve, what are some of your most vivid childhood memories of coming to the SCG from Ashes Test? Like, were you here for Steve Wilson group, that sort of thing? Like, what were you here to see?
I don't think I ever came to a game here. A couple of other test matches, but never an Ashes one. So just watched at home on the telly, and always loved watching games at the SCG. They're always great spectacles, and hopefully we can create some good memories this week for people coming out to watch us.
And what about those you did see on TV?
Yeah, the one you brought up just now about Tugger scoring the 100 off the last ball was a pretty special one. I think I remember they didn't go to the news, and that was a rarity. I think back in those days we watched that last ball. So yeah, that was probably my most vivid memory.
Steve, as a batter, it's obviously different batting out there as opposed to setting up nets on the table. But what do you pick up as any minor differences from batting out in the centre wicket as opposed to out in the nets there?
I'd say there's still a net around you out here, so I guess when the net's around you, it's that little bit more sort of claustrophobic. I still think the bowlers probably feel a little bit quicker when the nets are up. So I think it just sharpens your skills up. Once you get through those kind of sessions, facing the bowlers in the middle feel like they can be a little bit easier at stages. So yeah, it's just about getting your movements in the right place, your mind in the right place, and trying to, I guess, particularly the start of your innings in the nets, just try and be as sharp as you can, because we know your first 20 balls is probably your most vulnerable when you get to the middle. So for me, any net I have, really, I'm focused on those first 20 balls and ensuring that I do everything to get through them and get myself into my innings. Mel?
Steve, you faced Josh Hazlewood out there. What sort of percentage would you say he was operating at today while you were batting against him?
Not sure. The ball seemed to be coming through quite nicely, so I'm not sure how he's pulled up or how he's going. I'm sure we'll hear more in the next day or so, but I know that the guys have a lot of trust in him to make the right decision. He knows his body better than anyone, and he's played a lot of cricket now, so I'm sure they've got plenty of faith in Josh and what he wants to do.
And the grass out there, does that look like more of a seamer's wicket? Does it look like another wicket that will help the quicks?
It's, you know what, it's pretty difficult to say here. I think sometimes when they keep the grass on the wicket, it does a little bit for the first hour or so and then seems to flatten out and not break up. So I'm not really sure. They're trying to make it hard from day one and not quite as tacky as perhaps it's been previously, with I think a bit of the weather around. So we'll wait and see and just play according to the conditions when we're out there. Yeah, I think the last couple of months have been fantastic. I think he's given everyone real clarity around how the guys want to go about their business, sort of letting us own our space and how we want to prepare and things like that, and allowed the other coaches to take a bit more of a role and yeah, it's been a good environment. So I'm not the ones to make those decisions, but I feel like the last couple of months has been a great vibe, and the guys have obviously had a lot of success winning a World Cup and winning the Ashes here. So we're feeling good, and it's been a good vibe.
Just from a COVID perspective, you've done anything differently over the last week or so now that it's clearly closing in a bit. What's happened to Travis and clearly across the league and etc. Have you done anything differently personally other than getting stuck in the lift?
Getting stuck in the lift, yeah, I was avoiding it in there. So yeah, that was an experience. But outside of that, no, just trying to, I guess, stay away from people as much as possible, but still trying to have some normality to our lives outdoors. Sometimes it's obviously been very different the last couple of years in sport and in cricket. So just to be able to walk outside and get some fresh air and things like that little things that you can sort of take for granted at times. It's just trying to keep some normality there outside of practice, just to keep ourselves in a decent headspace to go out and play.
Last one, maybe, folks. Yep.
Steve, you had quite a good battle with Stuart Broad in Adelaide. Just wondering if you could sort of talk us through that a little bit, but also, are you not surprised that perhaps on the pitches like we saw at Brisbane and in Melbourne, probably you've not seen more of the guy?
Yeah, we have been a bit surprised. Probably 2 wickets that would have suited him pretty well. So, he's bowled well in Adelaide. He's always been a good contest for me. He's got me out quite a few times. I've scored some runs off him, so it's been I think a decent battle. So they've got quality bowlers. Him and Jimmy together, obviously 2 world-class performers, have been for a long time. So maybe we'll see them together out here this week. Not sure, but we'll continue to hopefully play the way we are and keep moving forward and have a successful week.
2 more here, folks. Benny, and then we'll finish off with Wu.
Steve, I know we're only 3 tests through this series, but does it feel like a more dominant performance than the 2013-14 whitewash you were involved in? Like New Zealand seems less competitive this time?
That's a long time ago. It's probably just been a bit different the way we've sort of done it, I suppose. Obviously from a bowling perspective, Jono just blew England away. It's probably been a bit more shared here. Guys have bowled really well. Starkey's bowled well. Boland in Melbourne blew them away. Jai got 5 in Adelaide. It's been shared, and I think Starkey's just bowled exceptionally well throughout the series as well. So it's been a little bit different probably from that perspective. But yeah, and it's been different in terms of the wickets. I think I said before, I think they've been pretty bowler friendly the first 3. So whether this one may be a bit flatter, I'm not sure. Only time will tell. But it's nice to have wrapped it up in 3. Sort of takes the pressure off us a little bit, but we want to keep being relentless and ruthless and keep winning games of cricket.
Last one, Wu.
I know you've mentioned a little bit about the pitch and how Melbourne was really hard this season, but from what you've seen so far, is this the sort of pitch you want to play on if you're out of form and trying to get?
Don't know yet, mate. I'm not sure. I can't really make a judgment just yet. I'd like a bit more grass off it, to be honest with you, but but I think our bowlers will enjoy it a bit more with a bit more grass, perhaps. But then it's sort of a catch-22. If you leave the grass on, it probably doesn't break up as much. Whereas if you take the grass off, the second innings becomes a bit harder. So we'll see how it plays out, and hopefully it's a good week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Easy. Sure.